Okay, I'm not sure if this is a good question, but I'll be asking you. In 2006, you wrote a book. We have a copy of Vietnam, and this book too is about Vietnam. Why did you decide to write two books from the same?
I wrote the second book to make a different approach. Now, the first book is what I call a memograph. It's a memoir and a monograph, but it's more heavy on the monograph. More primary sources, more what one of the reviewers called pristine history, less personal. This one, the second one I wrote also because it's priced better. The University of North Texas Press has done more to promote and sell the book than the first publisher also. And I added, like I said earlier, the war from the inside out. I added what happened after the war. And I also added a where are they now section, since I've been able to reconnect with most of the people, not most, but many of the people I served with. I even found my bunkmate from the NCO Academy. He got thrown out of the academy and went to Vietnam early. Well, that's the last time I see him. We ended up in the same infantry unit, and we served together in Vietnam. And so I got to see him, and they came to Atlanta last year. So that was really nice. That was special.
Thank you.
Dr. Gillam, we do a little bit of a promo, a little 2-minute thing. If you feel comfortable reading that into the camera, that'd be great.
This camera?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Hi, my name is James Gillam. I'm a professor of history at Spelman College. And today I'll be discussing my book, Life and Death in the Central Highlands, An American Sergeant in the Vietnam War, 1968 to 1970. I'd like to invite you to listen in on this discussion at the AUC Author Series website. Thank you very much.
Perfect. That was great. It's really wonderful. I mean, I was riveted during this whole thing. I got to tell you that I didn't go, but I got my number in 73. It was 21, and
Whoa.
I was sure, that I was going to go. But when I turned 18 is when they stopped the draft. So I didn't go. But so I grew up watching you on TV and watching the Vietnam War. And
you know what? We used to watch the war in the lounge, 6 to 7 every day. The Huntley Brinkley Report. When I was a freshman and sophomore and junior, I saw my brother in Vietnam. He was with the Marines, and they were in Da Nang when the Buddhists were rioting, and his unit was supposed to seal off the bridge across the Perfume River. And it was so scary for me, because as this big crowd of really angry people are headed toward these 6 Marines behind their sandbags, you see the guys put their helmets on, hunker down behind the bags. End of the film clip.
What happened?
They managed to get them turned around and nobody got hurt. But in those days we didn't have internet or anything, and we were just really on pins and needles waiting for the next letter from my brother.
Wow.
So, we all watched it. You got number 21? You know what happened to me with the draft? I got drafted in September of 68. The following January, they came up with the lottery system. Now, my girlfriend at the time kept up with that kind of stuff. You put your birthday is, all the days of the year is put in the drum, and they pull it out random, and they assign you a draft number. She said that my birthday was pulled and it came out, and they assigned a number to it, something like 300 and something.
Oh, you never would have gone.
They never drafted above 50 or so.
Yeah.
So if I could have hung out just another 6 months, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have stayed home and done something completely different.
Right. I remember that time with my friends, their older brothers, and they'd have the numbers hanging from the lamp in the kitchen, just waiting to see whether they were going to get called up. It was sort of a scary time.
You know, I got my draft notice the same day my first niece was born, her birthday. You know, my brother and I went to see his wife and the new baby, and, you know, we went to dinner and, you know, saw a movie, had a couple beers, went home, and I grabbed the mail out of the mailbox on the way off the driveway. This is not good. And it really does say, "Greetings from Uncle Sam." I swear to God, that's what.
Is that oxymoron? Or?
You got it, man. You have no idea how weird it is. You know what I do when I teach the Vietnam seminar over at Spelman? I have different ways of letting them know what it's like. So one of the things is to pass out 2 draft notices in class. Wow. And tell them, now, you'll have to go and get a physical. And it's going to be really humiliating and invasive. And you have to go away for 2 years. No, you can't call your parents. You can't call your boyfriend. Just get on the bus and go away for 2 years. And while you're there, live in the woods. You know, that's not, you know. Yeah. So other things we do is I bring artifacts, you know, like show and tell time. They get to see uniforms and stuff, and the girls are amazed that at one time, you know, I brought in the jacket for my dress uniform. It fits these little girls perfectly. And I'm like, oh my God. And then...
that's why you're working in tunnels.
Yeah, it is. It is. I was about Vietnamese size, you know. And then I bring out a rifle that I brought home. This guy that I told you that I shot in October of '69, I met him when I went back to
He's a professor now.
He is. You'd be surprised how many of us are intellectuals. Well, it might be because many of us have physical disabilities. You can't do the physical labor. But anyway, I shot this guy and he dropped his rifle. And so I brought it home. And I bring that to the class, you know. And it has a bayonet on it. And they're like, what do you do with that? You poke people with it. So, you know, I give them like 3 minutes of bayonet instruction and show them jars that had food in it from the tunnel and, you know, those kinds of things. I show them the difference between American-made fighting knives and Vietnamese knives. One of the Vietnamese knives I have is not very good quality steel. It's very rusty, and the handle is made of bamboo. Strapped onto, you know, taped onto the shaft of the knife.
You know, do they have any concept, or do you talk about it all that at perhaps just 1 or 2 years older than they are, you were killing in self-defense? Do they? Can they comprehend that? Can they get their minds around that?
Some of them say, "Well, you know, I have a brother who's 18," and I go, "Yeah, he'd be draft age." And by his 19th birthday, he would be hunting people and being hunted. The war is. They eventually get the idea that war is a young man's thing, you know. But you age. Army years, infantry years are like dog years. You really age. And part of the experience is we take a road trip to the POW Museum down in Andersonville, where they have artifacts and interactive exhibits from every conflict in American military history, to include tunnels and a replica of a cell in the Hanoi Hilton, and those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
So they get, some of them really get into it. They get a lot out of it. Some of them are, glad to get out of the class because they're entirely sure that their professor is lost as well.